Hi, and welcome to Reed's Audio Reading. I'm Reed, and I hope you enjoy my channel. Today I'll be introducing you to a forgotten god from the Suel Pantheon, Pyremius. You can find this information in Dragon Magazine 89. Pyremius, god of fire, poison, and murder. Lesser god. Pyremius appears as a grotesque man who facially resembles a germlane. He has many human worshippers as well as worshippers among the germlane, Newts, and Grimlocks. See the Fiend Folio tome. He can mass charm these non humans at will and has an effective charisma of 21 in dealings with them. He wears special bracers of defense made of brass that gives him his superior armor class. When he is not wearing them, his armor class drops by 10 places to 5. Pyremius will not remove his bracers voluntarily, except to loan them to a neutral evil figure who is native to an outer plane. Anyone else who puts them on will see his hands wither and fall off, along with the bracers which cannot be donned again by the same figure at the start of the following round. There is no saving throw against this effect, and regeneration will not restore the lost appendages. Only a figure with strength greater than Pyramius can force him to remove the bracers, and then usually only if that figure bests him in personal combat. Pyramius bears a sword named the Red Light of Hades that can be borne by no one else. It is a +5 weapon to hit and on damage and does 3 to 30 points of damage per strike, not counting the god's strength bonus. A paladin who is struck by the sword must make a saving throw of 14, no adjustment allowed for any reason, or lose all of his abilities as a paladin until both a wish and an atonement are cast upon him to bring those powers back. The sword casts a red light out to a radius of 20 feet that will outline an invisible object just as a fairy fire spell would. The light does no damage, but it will remain around a visible or invisible object it has touched until it is removed by a dispel magic spell successfully cast against 20th level magic. The other weapon he carries is a whip called the Viper of Hades. It does 1 to 8 points of damage, not including strength bonus, on a hit, and it will damage figures that can be hit only by magic weapons, even though it has no magical bonus to hit. The whip's principal value to Pyramius comes from its poison, which affects any mortal except those hit only by magic weapons. Anyone susceptible to the poison who is struck by the whip must save versus poison at -3 or die on the spot. The poison is so virulent that the usual saving throw bonus allowed to dwarves, gnomes, and halflings does not apply on poison attacks from this weapon. Pyramius can detect good out to a 60 feet radius around himself, and he is encased in a permanent protection from good aura around his person only that prevents him from being struck in melee by any good aligned beings unless and until he strikes the first blow. He can identify any poison by taste and neutralize poison in another figure at will. Once a day, Pyramius can cast a meteor swarm spell at the 20th level of magic use. Once a week, he can summon a huge fire elemental, HD 24, AC -2, movement 18. If an elemental he calls is killed, he cannot conjure up another one for a month. His one significant weakness is cold based attacks, from which he suffers double damage. A resist cold spell or similar magic cast on his behalf will not aid him in any way, and thus he will never carry that spell. He prefers to carry and cast fire spells over any other type. Pyramius is on excellent terms with all the denizens of the gloom of Hades, and particularly so with demons. See Monster Manual 2. He can summon with a 55% chance of success, 100% in Hades, from 1 to 4 Yagano demons to carry out his bidding. He can exercise this power once per turn in Hades when on the prime material plane. He can attempt this summoning once per round until it succeeds, but then must wait an hour before trying again. Pyramius and Cyril have collaborated on many endeavors on Oreth, most of them having to do with the Scarlet Brotherhood. Both deities, being part monk and part assassin, have been prayed to by the Brotherhood and have aided the Brotherhood on many occasions, with the result that the Scarlet Brotherhood has begun to emerge as a power on Oreth. Any opponent engaged in that group might find these two deities intervening directly or indirectly on behalf of their worshippers. However, they are very clever about when and how to use direct intervention. since that might involve other gods in the struggle, and almost nothing is worth risking a battle between the gods. Clerics devoted to the service of Pyremius wear red vestments decorated with flame shaped swatches or orange and yellow. Viewed from a distance, this garb makes the clerics seem to be on fire. Members of the clergy of Pyremius gain special abilities, not all of them beneficial, as they advance in level, but must pay for these abilities by earning an extra 5% of the experience point total normally needed to rise from each level to the next. The abilities gained at each juncture in a cleric's career are cumulative, with those gained at lower levels. For instance, a 5th level cleric has a total saving throw bonus of +2 against fire spells. The abilities are as follows: levels 1 to 4, +1 on saving throws versus fire spells, -1 on saving throws versus cold spells. Levels 5 to 8, +1 on saving throws versus fire spells, -1 on saving throws versus cold spells. Levels 9 to 10, ability to use a pyrotechnics spell once per day. No material components needed for bonus spells, and they do not count against normal spell allotment. Levels 11 to 15, -1 on saving throws versus cold spells, total penalty -3, must take 1 extra point of damage per die from cold spells, up to a maximum possible for type of die. Ability to use the magic of a fire shield spell, hot flame variety, once per day, as if wearing a ring of fire resistance. Levels 16 and above, -1 on saving throws versus cold spells, total penalty -4. 1 hit point of damage lost from any cold spell is permanent until regained by a restoration spell or wish. Ability to use the magic of a fireball spell once per day, with damage equal to 1d6 per level of cleric. Secret temples of Pyramius can be found in many large cities throughout the Flanaess. He has worshippers among the barbarians in the Amidio jungle and Hypnoland, but these are very few. Thank you for listening to this video of the Forgotten Gods, Pyramius, god of fire, poison, and murder. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Best regards, Reed.